But then once I had a match on a Saturday morning, 10 to 12, brutally in the sun, no shade at all. And for 2 hours.
Good morning, everybody. It's a bright and sunny day, Saturday morning here in Singapore. And on today's Turn On Venture series, we will be spending some time cycling with Andre Stolz, the CEO and co-founder of EcoWorth Tech. And I'm really glad to spend some time today with him talking a bit more about everything else apart from work. It'll be a good chance to learn more about Andre, what he does outside of work, what his hobbies and passions are. Should be a fun time. Minutes? Oh, okay. The playground?
Yeah, the pier here. Because it was so popular at one point. In the evening, refreshing, and we have a...
Yeah. Decathlon?
No.
It's too crazy for Asia.
I've been for really long time. Oh, it's 2 camera now.
Yeah. Welcome today on Turn On Ventures. It's about turning off, so trying to understand the people that I know who are building businesses, to learn more about who they are outside of the business, who they are as a person, what they do for fun, how they turn off basically. And just before this, we were just cycling in East Coast Park in Marina Bay before we came here to do this interview. So I'm going to do a quick intro. This is Andre Stolz. He's the CEO and founder of EcoWorth Tech, which is also one of our portfolio companies. In fact, one of our very first tickets that we wrote over quite a few months of hard work and going down and meetings and all that. So I've spent quite some time with Andre on the work stuff on EcoWorth Tech, trying to see how we can help each other. But really, I think this is the first time we've actually done something that's not work.
That's true. That's true, and it's quite fun. So
yeah, which I really
been cycling for 2 hours already. So it's good.
Yeah, and what I really like is that I feel like you're more familiar with the cycling stretch, like what's there to do here, where the cafes are, what you can get along East Coast Park than myself, because I always just go through like just at one shot. I don't stop anywhere apart from the water cooler down there at the front.
No, I'm quite adventurous. So from time to time, I like to stop here and there and explore.
Yeah.
What you can do here, the scenery. I mean, look at the scenery. It's one of the nicest here on the East Coast. The most quiet one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known of this place if you didn't tell me. I think people see entrepreneurs and startup founders as people who go through the startup grind and spend all their time focusing on building the company, which is it's inspirational and it's a lot of hard work. But I'm sure that you do stuff that is not work, and I think that is what we're trying to understand you a bit more today. So maybe you can start with telling us who you are outside of EcoWorth.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Andre, originally from Germany, but I've been in Singapore now for 17 years. 20 years in Asia, so I lived in Shanghai before I came here. I like it here, obviously. Whereas, of course, originally I only planned to be here for 4 years. I came with a big corporate, Procter & Gamble. I worked 17 years in a corporate before I decided to move to the entrepreneurial side. And of course, I like outdoor. That's why I think in Singapore, even though it's so hot, I really enjoy being outside. I like the tropical feeling, close to the water, and I think here's one of the most beautiful places. So, and that's something I really enjoy. Of course, I grew up with 4 seasons. Of of course, I love the German summer and also the winter. The in-between parts is sometimes a bit tricky. Here's only summer, so I don't get the winter part, but at least there's a lot of sun here, a lot of things I can do outdoor.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I'm relatively active outside of work as well.
Yeah.
And that's where I keep my balance and my sanity.
Yeah. I mean, just before you were telling me that you do windsurfing, which is what's happening right behind. You do beach tennis, you do tennis. Yeah, but these are all like really like outside sports, which I don't do. So I can tell you like the stuff I do. I do table tennis, indoor. Like literally, you have to pick a place that has no wind because the ball will fly from the wind. And yeah, the only outdoor thing I do is cycling, which is good, but I kind of wish I did more outdoor stuff like yourself. So yeah, maybe I will really join you on the beach tennis one day.
No, it's fun. Of course, it's very hot. You need to protect your skin, but yeah, it's nice. You're in the nature, you're outdoor, and that's where I draw a lot of energy from.
Yeah. And this outdoor thing, was it something like was your characteristic, something you liked since you were young?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up playing tennis and soccer, but tennis I think has been throughout my life the number one sports I've been doing everywhere and all the time. Doesn't matter whether it was winter, summer, in Europe, in China, Singapore, everywhere. So that's like my number one sports. And then
one really good way to learn more about a person is understanding how they grew up, right? And you know, whether it's the fun stuff they did or experiences they had growing up, right? Like, is there something you can share with us about like your childhood? You know, like I'm from Singapore, so I have that typical study very hard, go to school, go to uni, try to get, you know, good scores, find a job kind of path. I did things in between, you know, some projects in between, but never really been a very big explorer until maybe now when I'm 30. But for yourself, how was growing up like?
So for me, I grew up in a relatively small town, German town. It was a nice environment. We had anything from a little castle along the river to hills on both sides with vineyards. So outdoor sports, I think, was part of growing up, because you had cycling paths beautiful cycling paths along the rivers for kilometers, running in the forest, tennis, soccer.
Mines? River mines?
Tauber.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's where the romantic street is. That is quite famous. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I grew up. There wasn't much industry around that area. And I think when I grew up, I have two siblings. Let's say you try to focus on getting out of the house as soon as you can, right? And build your own life. You don't want to be dependent on your parents. You don't want to stay at home for too long. So my motto was like, yes, I study hard enough, but on the side I work, I get some experience, I make some extra cash on the side with part-time jobs in order to be able to finance my own home as soon as I can. So once I studied, I had my own place. I financed my own place. I worked on the weekends while I was studying, and that was for me like the motivation, and it was really rewarding to live alone. And of course, some people might be scared, but you live alone, it gives you so much independence. And I think that is where also you're forced to explore things. You're forced to take care on your own, how you do your cooking, how you do your washing, right? At home, of course, everything is supported. And that's how I grew up. So you become independently very quickly. And then it depends on you whether you embrace that, you enjoy that, and what you do. So, and then from there, I studied something called Engineering International Technology Management that had part of 2 semesters studied overseas. So then suddenly you also study overseas, and your whole environment is new. So then you start again to make yourself comfortable, to explore things, find new friends, and come around. And that's, I think, what I learned and I found relatively easy. And after that, I moved to Frankfurt with my company there. I mean, not my company, but the company I work for. And also there, settle in. Really love Frankfurt. Also there, I was quite active. And eventually, from there, I got a chance to go to Shanghai. And also Shanghai, totally new culture, new living environment, and that's why for me, I think the move to Singapore was a smooth ride, right? Because I've undergone already a lot of times complete kind of very opposite or different cultures, different situations. So coming here was actually really smooth transition.
I guess having that chance to making your own choice to manage your own life when you're young means that every time you're put in a position or you get the opportunity to do that, in a new place, new country, it just gets easier and easier, and
that's true.
Know immediately, right? Like the day you land, okay, what filing do I need to do, where to get registered, home, transport, all that kind of thing just comes fast.
That's true.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge when you first moved here?
When I first moved here, I would say, outside of work, I would say the climate. So even though I like hot weather and I loved it to come here, I think the humidity is just something, if you're not used to it, it kills you easily, right?
Yeah.
So, and initially it was the same. I lived very close to my workplace. I just had to walk for 10 minutes. By the time I reached the office, I was already sweaty.
Yeah.
Right. In the office, inside, it was damn cold.
Yeah.
So, and I think I was having colds on and off for the first 2 months. Right. Of being in Singapore, and it dragged on. I could not get rid of it. My nose was running, my headache, right? And then after that, for the next 3 years, I didn't get sick for a single time because I got somehow used to it. But that was, I think, a challenge at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I think for work-wise, I think it was more the huge accumulation of different cultures that I've not had before, ever. I mean, even though in Germany, I lived in the UK, in China. I mean, you have different nationalities and how you work with them, but I think here you really have a multi-culti mixture of nationalities and cultures and people with very different background, very different ways of looking at things. And at the beginning, I think that is what I found a challenge, because I was so not known to many cultures. Indonesians, Indians, Malaysians are very different, right? And when you work with them, everybody has different expectations, different background, cultures, family backgrounds, and I was initially a bit struggling with it, because I didn't understand some of the actions, behaviors, or way people were expressing. I think by now that is probably what I would say is maybe rather my strengths, where I can integrate very well with people from different backgrounds and trying to leverage these differences to do a better job. But initially that was like, wow, I was overwhelmed.
I that's one thing I remember when I first not when I first met you, but when I first went down to your facility, to the EcoWorth Tech facility, and then after we spoke, you're like, you want to go downstairs for coffee? And I was like, wow, like, you've been here a long time, right? And I really enjoyed that. I think people who are able to sort of blend in and not say there's one part of it is intentionally, but then there's the whole part of this person that just by being here and being open and absorbing what the country brings, you kind of take on a little part of the country unknowingly. Sometimes. 13 years of eating in Singapore. What's your verdict? What do you like?
What I like? Okay, actually there's a variety of food I like, not just Singaporean food. Of course, there's some good Singaporean food. Like I like chicken rice.
Yeah. Oh.
I think that's of course quite nice.
Yeah.
Or the char sius.
Uh-huh.
So, but I think within Southeast Asia or Asia, there's a lot of food I like. I mean, like anything from Thai food, Indonesian food, Japanese, Vietnamese. I mean, and the varieties, you can always find a few dishes that you like, and
Yeah.
it's just so good. And having this, almost in front of your doorstep is in a way a luxury. Right?
It really is, right? Like when I was in Europe, one thing I missed is having places to eat at night, because after the dinner service, everything just shuts off.
Yes.
And maybe you get like the restaurants and stuff that will still take you in at 9, 8, but there's nothing that's really like on the ground. That is open once it gets dark, and pretty much you have to find your own, your own entertainment or your own. I'm not sure if that was in the shot, but ouch.
Somebody just splashed into the water.
Good. I'll catch up with you when